Hey guys, welcome to the Z Report. So today I got some very good news, and that's the ability for you to pre-order new lenses from Nikon. Nikon just released two lenses, the 50mm and the 105mm macro lenses. Now there seems to be too many 50s to me by now, but it seems to me as well that all lenses tend to do different things. Now we have the 102, the 108. I believe this will make it the third with the 2.8 macro lens. So both lenses are actually 2.8 that you may want to acquire if you want to do some macro photography. Now you gotta remember that macro is meant for Nikon and micro is meant for Canon, and that's because they just wanted a very small name variation within their lenses. But it means the same thing whether you go micro or macro. So with that, let's get into them. So the 50mm and the 105mm are going to be macro lenses at an f2.8. The 50 will be $650 and the 105 will be $1,000. By $1 off, but it's the same thing. Anyhow, the technology behind it is quite nice, and it seems to be a lens that you may want to acquire because each one of them, even though they're all 1-to-1, will do the same job. Now 1-to-1, if you don't know what that means, is that if you get something that's 1 inch, it will replicate that 1 inch onto your photo without an issue. It will give you exactly the same true ratio compared to other macro lenses or micro lenses that you have worked with. Both of the lenses that are being advertised for pre-order are all f2.8, macro f2.8 lenses, the 50 and the 105. The 50 will come out at $650 and the 105 will be $1,000, off by $1 or so, but who cares? It's just $1. But I'm running it off to the nearest number. You would want a longer lens like the 105 if you want to get further away from your subject so it can give you more breathing ground and perhaps not see the reflection onto it. Because the 50mm, for example, will allow you to attach an ES2 adapter for you to digitize any film that you may have available, if there's still some available that you may have lying around. The technology behind the lenses will practically be about the same. They will all have spherical lenses. There will be ED glass. Stepping motors will be available for them, and that's because all S-line lenses have stepping motors that are silent. Those motors allow it to be silent for focusing, especially for video. Unlike the other versions that you have in the DSLRs with the FX line, the FX line they are noisy when working with them, especially if you're shooting video. Other than that, you can actually use them, but have your microphone very far away from that. Aside from that, they're also using the fluorine coating. And also they'll have the electromagnetic diagram mechanism. Now that mechanism has been used in all the S-line lenses, so you don't need to worry about that. The other thing that we're also seeing here is the fact that they are incorporating a range limiter. You can have regular full focus for the lens as well as the limiting range for micro focusing. So when you're focusing up close, it doesn't go beyond those limits and just stays focused within that range. The 50mm will also give you a compact front focusing system, which is kind of like having a microscope internally onto the actual lens, and that gives you the ability to step out or come out of the lens itself for you to get better focusing and tell you exactly at what ratio you're at. The 105 gives you a little bit of higher specs, and it tends to be in line with that of the trilogy that we have from Nikon, and that's a little window. So I'm not sure exactly what you can display on them, but if you have one of those lenses, then you know exactly what it can display. So this one goes a step further and gives you also Arnold coating, and it's also an IF lens, which means that all the focusing system is internally. There's no external shifting whatsoever. Everything happens within. Another step that's being added to the 105 is the fact that for the very first time, we're seeing VR being incorporated onto a lens. And I hope they bring back this feature and make it a standard for future lenses. I do like the VR portion to be integrated onto the lens. So that's just me. So just like the prior 105 for the FX line, you can do portrait work and you can do micro photography, macro photography with this lens as well. So both lenses have their specific purpose. Both of them are in a line of their own, so you cannot really compare one to the other. They will both do different jobs, even though both of them will give you a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's my news for today. I know that Nikon is making other announcements either today or tomorrow, unless this was the announcement that they were planning to make. But if that was it, then that's your news and your whole news out of Nikon. But otherwise, you'll hear from me again coming out in the next couple of days. So thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one.